in today's video, I'm going to be working a little bit from pack 1 and a little bit from pack 2. I have got up to pack 3 as well, but that's just more ribs, and we'll get onto that in a later date. Okay, so you can see I've already made a start, and literally I've just glued up the MDF base plate. I've made the keel, and I've started to glue on a couple of the early ribs, and all the making of the base and making the keel is very similar to, in fact it's almost identical to the keel and the base of the USS Constitution. So if people want to watch that video, if you get a little bit stuck, it kind of shows you what to do with the base. So there's a little bit of difference. The base of this Cutty Sark is made up of 2 parts and have to be glued together, as the base of the USS Constitution came in 1 solid part. So you just have to spend a little bit more time making sure that everything is actually in line when you're having 2 separate parts, because you've got to make sure that the keel line and the slots from the base add completely line up. So I'll just show you what I mean. So as we're going to work on rib 15 a little bit later on, all you have to do is make sure that it lines up perfectly with the line of the keel, and lines up perfectly with the slots. That's going to take the support legs, but we'll get onto that in a little bit later on. Okay, so I've added ribs and glued them into place. Rib number 10, rib number 5, and rib number 3. Because what I like to do is I actually like to work in like a block of 5, and then obviously I'll glue them in place and I'll work on another block of 5. But why I've glued in rib number 3 is that's just because that's the first rib that goes into the base plate. So it kind of locked everything in place. So that's why I've got rib number 3 on, and then rib number 5, and then rib number 10. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start to fill in this section, and pretty much in today's video I'm going to work right up to rib number 15. Okay, so we get rib number 1 and rib number 2. We literally don't have to do anything with them. They kind of came out of the laser cut fret, pretty much as that. So that's going to get placed just in there. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to dry fit them just to make sure that nothing needs sanding to make them fit, but these are actually fitting really nice, so I don't need a lot of work with them. And then I'm going to glue in rib number 4, and that's just going to go just slightly past the keel supports. So this does, you can see in a minute, it will need a little bit of adjustment, and that's because it is a wooden kit. Then I'm also going to use this like top base plate, and I think these are the most important thing about this kit, for actually getting everything all nice and flush at the top of where the deck's going to be, and it also keeps everything in alignment. So I actually do believe that these little templates that we get are the most important thing of the kit for getting everything nice and level. Okay, so I'm going to start up to just glue up these slots, and I'm going to glue down the face of rib number 1, and then I'm just going to pop that just in for a second, and the same again. It's going to glue down the slot of number 2, and then we'll slot that one in. So if you remember, in the USS Constitution, I actually taken off all the rib supports for pretty much the entire hull of the US Constitution. But with the Cutty Sark, I decided I'm not going to do that this time, and the only reason I've cut these ones off is because originally I was going to do that, but because I'm going to make this a completely closed hull where I'm going to plank the entire enclosure, and I'm actually thought, well, I'll just cut these off at a later date and sand it that way. I did it with the USS Constitution because I wanted to try and cut down on a lot of the sanding after it was already complete, with it being the open hull. I didn't want to completely cover the inside of the open hull with dust after I'd already kind of finished it. So I'm just going to paint some glue just down the slot with rib number 4. And we're going to just drop that one in. Okay, so now I'm going to bring across this first template, and I'm actually just going to use this to pretty much make sure everything's running nice and flat, and also everything's running nice and true. Because I've already pre-glued in frame number 5 with the support legs, and I'll show you that a little bit later on when we do number 15, is I know that this is set, glued in, obviously completely plumb. So I'm going to take this template and just, because it is wood, that's why things do start to move, and that's why I do believe that having these templates early is really key. And that can be pressed down, and then everything can be pushed together. And by using this template, you can kind of make sure that everything's running pretty much true along the top deck. So pretty much everything should be in line with near enough a thickness plank of about 6mm. So that's when you know everything is pressed down. And what I'm going to do, like I did in the USS Constitution, is going to take some elastic bands and I'm going to leave them on. And that will just keep everything all locked in, nice and flush and nice and true. And that's why I keep saying this, but I do think these are the most important part of the build, and I would have liked to got them all really early. Okay, so the next part build, I'm going to use this this next template, and these templates come in pack 2, the early ones. That's kind of made up to do with the mass. So on this template, it's going to cover 10, 11, and 12. So same again, because I work in ribs of 5, I've locked in place rib number 10, and I'm going to take 11 and 12. So always dry fit everything first, just kind of make sure it feels nice and true, and that one does. And then so I feel our 12 fits as well, and that feels really nice as well. So same again, I'm going to apply some glue to the slots. Push. Number 11 and number 12 in. Okay, so in the instructions, there is a section that I'm actually missing out where you add all these freebie 2s to the build. And for this section of the build, I just advise people to follow the instructions. Me personally, on this build, I'm not adding them because I've got an enclosed hull. I'm not adding any of these cross members of this freebie 3, just because I think it's not really needed, and it's also a lot of work. If people watch my USS Constitution build, you realise this what I did with them when I made the kind of cutting the I cut all these little individual slots in every deck, and it took me months. So I'm not going to actually do that this time. So I've got these ribs glued in. So now I'm going to bring across this second template, and I'm going to slot that in between these ribs 10, 11, and 12. And as you can see, it just opens everything up, and it just locks everything into place. So that actually doesn't overhang number 9. So actually I can actually glue in rib number 9. So I'll get that out, glue in rib number 9. I'm just going to push that one in. That's number 9 in place. So now I can bring this this template back across, because it does actually cover into rib number 9 as well. And then, like before, I'm just going to get a couple of elastic bands, and I'm going to get all this into place. You get these as well, but because I'm using these top templates, I won't actually need these yet, but I'll just show you. Literally, this top template is doing the job of these dividers. Okay, so we've got ribs number 6, 7, and 8, but we don't actually get this template for that. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, I'm actually just going to put the ribs in. So what I'm actually going to do this time for 6, 7 and 8 is I'm actually just going to drop them into place and not glue them in until a later date where I get the next templates. So that's 7, 8, sorry, 8, number 8. Drop in number 7, and I'm just going to drop in number 6 as well. So like I said, if we've got the template of this one now, I would kind of glue it all in place, and I know that it would all be locked in. But I'm just going to wait until I get the next template. But just to make sure everything is all in line, I'm actually going to use these spacers that we get. And I'm just going to put that in there, so I know that literally everything from the bow to rib number 12 is running nice and true and flush. And what you can do, so I'm just probably going to put a band across 5 to rib number 12 in like a block of 5. So I've got frame number 15, so I'm going to glue this in next. So just run a little bit of glue down frame number 15, but this time this is slightly different to the instructions. I'm actually going to glue the feet in. By doing this, it's going to glue everything and lock everything all into place. So it's not only just locking the frame into the keel. So as you can see, I'm not using the MDF like spacers that go on the back, because I'm pretty much just locking everything in place, just using the frames and the supports. Okay, so that's frame number 15 in place. And same again, I'm just going to take a moist paintbrush and just take off any of the excess. So same again, we haven't got the next part of these template support. So same again, all I'm going to do is actually just lock frame number 15 in, and then I'm just going to take frame number 14. I'm just going to dry fit these into place. And just make sure everything's running nice and true. So I'm going to actually leave them in there, but I'm just going to bring them across just for a second, just to kind of just check everything looking nice to the ones that are already glued in place, and they are. So what I'm going to do, while this frame of 15 is drying, I'm just going to bring them higher, bring them to the top. And then just go from frame number 9 into frame number 15. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I'm going to do for the entire length of this Cutty Sark is pretty much repeat exactly what I've showed you in this process. So I have actually got frames right up to about number 30, but I don't have these templates, so I'm going to have to wait until I get some more of these templates before I complete the whole, because like I've just said to you, I think these are one of the most important things, to actually making sure that all your decks are perfectly level and all your ribs and your frames are running perfectly true. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful. Like I say, it's not a step-by-step guide, it's my own personal way I'm going to build it, just from years of experience. But I just hopefully you'll be able to pick up some tips along the way, just how to make this build a little bit easier for yourselves. So I won't be back until I've built all the frames of the Cutty Sark. It's pretty much I'm going to do exactly what I've done in this video for the entire length. But I will be back a little bit later on when we get to the stage where we're going to fair all this hull before we do start the planking. So I do believe it's a really important stage before you do the planking, that you get all this bow, and especially the stern as well, that you get it really faired, because fairing is half of the battle with actually planking. So you've not got, especially your stern, if you've not got your stern faired correctly, it's going to be a nightmare when you start to taper your planks around. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, this model is available from Agora Models, and I have put a link in the description if people would like to build along with me on this kind of alternative guide.